What up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Just finishing my little afternoon cafecito here on a Friday. Please, as I finish my shot, go ahead and hit that like button. All right, caffeinated up, ready to go. So it's FSU week. This is a big one, biggest game of the year. Doesn't feel like it this year, though, does it? It feels a little odd. And I think the reason why is this is one of the strangest football seasons for the Hurricanes that fans have experienced in quite some time. Basically, because it's felt like two different seasons. If you guys remember, not too long ago, heading into the bye week, Miami was 4-0, riding high, had just taken care of business up on the road in Philadelphia against Temple. They blew them out. They blew out Texas A&M. Even though the score might not indicate that they did, but it was a 2-touchdown win and a very dominant 2-touchdown win. We had the number 9 total offense in the country, and our quarterback was rated number 1 nationally according to Pro Football Focus. So we were all feeling pretty confident heading into that ACC schedule. And if you remember, we had the blackout game planned for Georgia Tech. Cam Kinchins was scheduled to come back. We were excited. And then all of a sudden, Mario didn't take a knee. They called a fumble on Don Chaney that absolutely was not a fumble. It was confirmed by a million replays. And ever since then, this season has felt totally different. The offense has looked totally different. It's been, the play calling has been different. TVD just looks like a different guy. And it looks like, in my opinion, that he has started his last game as a Hurricane. So 2 different seasons. And it begs the question, has this rebuild kind of gone off the rails? Now, I'll dive into my FSU preview in a few minutes, but let's get into that first. Has this thing kind of gone off the rails? Has it gotten away from Mario a little bit? Now, I don't think it has quite yet. I think this is still salvageable, but definitely there's some leaks in the dam that need to be patched up, and quickly. And one of them, the biggest one, is the quarterback situation. Now, this is the harsh truth of football. You can check off so many boxes, trenches, defense, special teams, kicker, punter, across the board, we're improved from last year. If you look at this team, we're sitting at 6-3 right now. But it feels like a 6-3 that's built on a house of cards, right? It feels like, oh my God, we're staring 6-6 right in the face. But look at it right now. 6-3. We were 5-7 last year. We surpassed our win total of last year with 3 games to go. Has the team improved? Absolutely. 100% improved. However, the harsh truth of football is that you can have all these things figured out, but if you don't get good production from your quarterback position, if he's turning the ball over left and right, that can just torpedo the entire thing and ruin it. And that's kind of what's been happening the last few weeks. At some point, my position on this, at some point change needs to be made, and I think it needs to be now. It should have been done. I was saying it should have been done during the NC State game at halftime. I think TVD should have been pulled. He just didn't have it anymore. The fans could all see it. I think he needed to be pulled then. In hindsight, I'll admit I wasn't saying this at the time. I was saying TVD, if he's ready, he should start. But for the Virginia game before NC State, it probably would have been better if Emory started that game as well, coming off his Clemson win. It was at home. It was an afternoon game against one of the lower-ranked defenses in the ACC. It probably would have been better if Emory played that game, but that's neither here nor there. Let's look at the situation as a whole, right? Miami's total defense is ranked number 19th in the country. Miami has a very solid defense, all right? Their offensive line, much improved. We all know that. A midseason finalist for the Joe Moore Award, which is given at the end of the year to the best offensive line in the country. By the way, shout out to Pick 6 Previews on Twitter. They gave this little bit of information earlier this week. That Miami is one of only 8 offensive lines that are ranked in the top 20 in both run blocking and pass blocking this year. Some of the other teams on that list are Oregon, Oregon State, Kansas, Kansas State, us. What do all those teams have in common? Those are all teams that are having pretty good seasons that are ranked in most cases. I think us and Georgia Tech are the only exceptions. But even Georgia Tech all of a sudden doesn't look like such a slouch. They look like a pretty decent team themselves. But you got that defense, improved trenches on both sides. Andy Borregales, Lou Groza Award finalist. It looks like he's the odds-on favorite to win it. By the way, I'd like to remind everybody that I predicted that. Thank you very much. We got one of the best punters, one of the better punters in America. Special teams across the board has been good. Our return game has been solid. We've had some nice kickoff returns, nice punt returns. Brashard had that huge kickoff return for a touchdown against A&M. Clutch. We needed that one. And yeah, it's just every roster-wise, personnel-wise, every box checked off except quarterback. And that was the position that we worried about the least. We were just like, hey, if TVD can stay healthy, we're good. Well, he kind of hasn't. He's dealt with some injuries. To his credit, tough playing through them, but at the same time, he's not really playing through them because, I think I'm no doctor, but I think it might have affected him mentally, and as a result, it became a snowball effect, and he just lost his confidence. So that's why it feels so strange heading into this game. It doesn't look like this offense is ready. But ready or not, we gotta go into Tallahassee and try to get a victory. Emory Williams and Jakari Brown, your other two quarterbacks. I'm hoping it's some kind of a combination of those two guys. Jakari Brown adds that added wrinkle of the, being a great runner, being a great ball handler. He's not a great passer, but you know what? He also isn't like a horrific passer. I think if he gets into a rhythm, he can complete some passes. There's enough of a dual threat there that he can do something with that. And, I find it hard to believe that he hasn't improved at all since last year. I think though people kind of on the inside and people that know that maybe have gone to practice, they know, no, he's worked on his game. Like the dude's a much more accurate passer. But now hopefully we're going to get to see it. So, and Emory, being a true freshman, obviously, I've said before, it's not an ideal situation. He wasn't supposed to start any games this year, but you know what? He was asked to start one game, and for a true freshman starting his first game against the number one defense in the conference, did a solid job. You're not winning an ACC championship this year, so I would like to see us start to build for the future. While I think Emory could win a couple of ball games for you. I think he's good enough. All right. Excuse me, guys. Let me crack this window open a little bit. Got dark in here. There we go. Much better. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the whole thing. I know most Canes fans probably share that same opinion. Some would say, "Oh, TVD still gives us the best chance to win." I 1000% disagree with that. I just think he's compromised at this point. He needs to heal up. He needs to take some time and fix whatever he's got going on up here. That's not going to get fixed in a week. He needs time. All right. And I feel for the guy. I hope he figures it out and he goes and, he's in all likelihood going to transfer somewhere else. And I hope he goes and kills it wherever he goes. But it's probably not going to be here. He's not going to figure out whatever it is in a week. And he's not going to get any healthier in a week. If anything, it's going to be the opposite. So time to turn the page at that position. But there's a couple of scenarios I wanted to go over of how this season can play out. So we're 6-3. In all likelihood, not winning this game, but hey, you never know. Upsets are always possible. We see them every week. So, it's kind of this feeling of like, hey, why not us? When was the last time we pulled off an upset against FSU? Whenever we beat them, it's like, well, it's because we were better than them. Of course we beat them. You look at every year we beat them in the last 20, 25 years in recent memory, we beat them because we were better. It wasn't like we went up there and pulled off a huge upset. You can argue maybe 2007 was kind of an upset, but they were unranked also. I think we had the same record. But, it's that's one scenario. If we pull off the upset, obviously this thing that went off the rails, it is right back on track and full speed ahead. But let's start with the most negative one first. Obviously, everybody's scared of just this thing unraveling because we've seen this movie before. It's happened before. It just unravels We don't win another game. We finish 6-7. What happens then? Well, basically it's transfer portal like there's no tomorrow. It's Mario hitting that thing hard, trying to get plugging in as many plug and play guys as you can, as many starters as you can to continue flipping this roster. And for anybody that might leave, anybody who might go to the draft, replace them and just keep this thing going. But yeah, if that happens, definitely you're going to lose a chunk of the class. You're going to have to go a lot of plan Bs and plan Cs in the recruiting, and it's not going to be good. It's losing is never good. So that's a scenario I definitely don't want to happen. Next scenario is, all right, let's say you don't win the FSU game. All right, cool. 2 games left, Louisville and Boston College. All right, Louisville's top 10. They're number 11 or something, I think. Say you don't win that one. Let's say you just win the Boston College game. You finish 7-5, which is what a lot of people predicted, 7-5. All right. Technically an improvement over last year, not what I wanted, but an improvement over last year. Emory goes to Boston, goes up to Chestnut Hill, gets a win. All right, good for his resume, good for his development. We finish with a winning record, and then we go to a bowl game. Let's say he goes and wins the bowl game, 8-5. All right. Improvement over last year, 8-5, way better than 5-7. Not the way we drew it up. But you know what? If you can do that, even that I think would be enough to salvage most of this class. Plug in a few guys, grab a safety, grab a QB, maybe a D tackle in the portal, and you keep this thing going. The rebuild continues. Even that, even an 8-5 finish with a bowl victory, I think people underestimate how huge a bowl victory is because people people have forgotten. I think we've all forgotten how important winning a bowl game is because we've barely done it in the last 20 years. I think for perception from recruits and from fans, it's huge. And just to end on that high note, I think that keeps the rebuild going on schedule. A great scenario, and this would be the toughest one in my opinion, because you got to bounce back from, let's say you go up to Tallahassee and you don't win. You got to bounce back the very next week and go out and beat Louisville. It would be tough to do that, but we're at home, final home game, senior day. Guys, I saw that Louisville game last night against Virginia. Louisville looks very beatable, okay? And I feel like they're kind of due for another loss. I really do. They have the scheme. They have the coaching. I don't think they have the talent just yet. So let's say you win that game. You go up to Chestnut Hill. You win that game. You win 2 of your last 3. Finish 8-4, which is what I predicted. That's exactly how I predicted the season finishing out, actually. I had us losing to FSU, winning against Louisville, and then beating Boston College on the road and just, finishing out the season strong. That's exactly how I drew it up before the season. If that happens, you know what? 8-4, that's solid. I will take that all day, especially with all the trouble we've had the last few weeks. If you can recover and win those last couple of games, awesome. Win a bowl game, even better. 9-4, all of a sudden you're looking really good. I mean, you're probably even finishing ranked. Now, best case scenario, you go into Doak tomorrow. Defense plays their ass off. Special teams makes a couple of big plays. Maybe they have a big return. Maybe they block a punt or a field goal or something, and we pull off the upset. No, it's not likely. That's not what my pick is, but let's say we do. We flip the entire script. We flip the whole narrative. All of a sudden, right back on track. You got last 2 games. All of a sudden, 9-3 looks like a real possibility. I did not think we'd be finishing 9-3 even going into the season. So a lot of things can flip in our favor if they can pull off this upset tomorrow. Now, what do they need to do for that to happen? All right, so FSU obviously has a dynamic playmaker at quarterback in Jordan Travis. The improvements that he's made in the last couple of years have been amazing. I got to hand it to him because in 2020, he sucked. He was not good. He was not a good quarterback. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of 2021, started playing a little bit better. They pulled off that upset against us. Last year, he looks like a different guy. So you got a dynamic playmaker at quarterback. You have to just get after him and harass and put pressure on Jordan Travis. Make him miserable back there. Do whatever you got to do. If you give up a big play or 2 on the back end, So be it. We have to be aggressive against Jordan Travis. Do not let them breathe. Jaheim Bell, he is a problem. I'm concerned about him. So you got to figure out a way to control him, kind of take him out of the game. Make Jordan Travis beat you with deep balls, and don't let him get those deep balls off. Our defensive line has done a pretty good job pressuring the QB by themselves without additional blitzes. So yeah, you got to force a couple of takeaways. Jordan Travis only has 2 interceptions this year. I think he's due. I think he's due for 1 or 2 more. And the corners, I'm a little nervous because our corners are dinged up. Everybody knows that. Daryl Porter was having a sensational year heading into the NC State game. He gets hurt, which sucks because he was playing like a legitimate shutdown corner. And we haven't had a legitimate shutdown corner where, like, literally from the hash mark to the sideline is just locked down. They don't even throw his way. We haven't had that, God, since like, man, maybe Kelly Jennings, maybe those years. It's been a while. Because I don't even think Artie Burns, Cornell, they were solid. They were NFL guys, but they weren't locked down like this guy has been all season. So it's a shame to lose him. I hope he's able to play, but that injury didn't look good. We'll see. I'm not going to speculate on how hurt he is or if he's going to play or not. I hope he does, but I'm personally not holding out too much hope there. And Jaden Davis, Coach Cristobal said that he's looking good. So hopefully that means he's going to play. Either way, your corners are banged up, and they got 2 stud receivers that I'm not sure if they're going to play, but if they do, that could be a problem. That's why getting after Jordan Travis is even more important. Special teams has to make a game-changing, a game-flipping play in some regard. Either a punt return for a touchdown, a blocked field goal, a block punt, maybe return for a touchdown, something that flips the game around in our favor, flips the momentum around. That would be huge, because if you look at every big upset in college football, what do all of them have? They have some kind of big play on special teams. Almost every time they have some kind of big play on special teams. So I think our special teams will do that. And offensively, obviously, if you're going with Emory, you got to take the leash off of him. It can't be just bubble screens and handoffs all day. You got to get more creative. We got to involve Brashard Smith somehow. We got to involve maybe Chris Johnson, maybe Tyler Harrell. You got to involve those guys somehow, because that's your speed. Those are your playmakers. Get Kobe Young and Jacoby George. Get everybody involved, because we're gonna need all hands on deck for this one. If it becomes like conservative city and it's just way too predictable and they keep stopping us, if you don't reward your defense is going to break. Okay. I think our defense is good enough to make some stops early in this game, maybe get a takeaway, but our offense has to be able to capitalize on that and score. If they don't, they're going to pull away, and it's going to be a long day. Now, my prediction for this game, I hope I'm wrong, but I have FSU beating us 31-16. That's my final score. I have them beating the spread by half a point, 31-16. That's my final score. That's my prediction. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I have a hard time seeing how this offense is going to score enough. But if you make like with any upset, if you make a big play or two early and get off to a hot start, anything's possible. All of a sudden, you're confident. They start feeling themselves. FSU's kind of on their heels a little bit. Starting fast is huge. And obviously, don't turn the damn ball over. Do not turn the damn ball over, please. Because, if we can make some plays and, late in the, fourth quarter becomes like that trenches game, then it becomes it flips into our favor. So that's just my opinion on the game, and that's my prediction. 31-16 FSU. But again, I hope the Canes make me look stupid, and I hope they pull off the upset of upsets, because my God, if they can pull this one off, man, it would come at the perfect time, because they need it. They need it. And honestly, it would forgive a lot of what has transpired this season. So go Canes. Good luck in Tallahassee. Go get that W. It's all about the U. Go Canes.